when we live our lives, everybody talks about the now. Everybody thinks everything is guaranteed to us, but it's not. We're only guaranteed two things in life: a death date and a life date and a death date. What we do in between, rather it be a minute, a year, or 100 years, is when we bury, people will talk about. Nobody wants to talk about the inevitable. We're only guaranteed two things. And in this episode, we're going to talk about life and death. So let's talk about it, my strangers. This is Conversation with Strangers. So let's talk about it. So what do we have? What do y'all think the circle of life is?
I think the circle of life is kind of basically what you just said. It's like we only guarantee two things, and that's your birthday, the day you are born, and then death. So to me, that's the circle of life. You know?
I'll be honest, I thought she was gonna say death and taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I was so prepared to hear taxes.
I mean, if you pay them, you pay them, and if you don't, you don't.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. I think that's definitely the circle of life. I think it's when you first wake up here, and whatever it is you do with that time up until close curtain.
Yep, I agree with all y'all guys. Birth date, death date, whatever happened in between, that's life. That's circle of life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you just live. Now, what is the meaning of that life now?
No, meaning of life, it can go so many ways because you have people, I'm not gonna go into like the whole abortion thing.
Yep.
But their life can end from right there, like when you get terminated in an abortion.
Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Never started.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I mean, personally, it could go either way. Like a life is a life.
Right.
Rather, because like I said, my views are a little different.
Yeah.
So, when a life is created, so that life can serve you for like bad things or good things. And it's crazy that me and Takara, we had a conversation last night, and it's just like, and I was telling her, like, most times people have sunny days. Mm-hmm. It's not to say that people don't have cloudy, who just like from the gate they have like cloudy days and a few sunny days, but most people have sunny days. It's really what you do with those cloudy days. Are you going to be, as my uncle would say, a victor or a victim?
Or a victim? That's slick. I ain't never heard that before.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody who has cloudy days and they live through it and they go through it, that's your victory banner. You understand what I'm saying? I think that was like one of the truest things one of my uncles had told me. Like that shit is true. Like, what do you want to do when you have cloudy days? Are you going to just let that go and you just be a victim the rest of your life, or you gonna be a victor, or you gonna be victorious from that? And I was telling somebody that the other day, like, listen, I'm not saying bad things don't happen to you. You can be unjustly accused and spend 20 years in jail, and you get out because of whatever evidence has been coming out. But are you going to live in that mindset that, okay, I was God, I was wrongly convicted or whatever. Like, no, like, I'm aware that as my victory better, because those were my days that I was personally, those were my cloudy days.
Right.
And it didn't stop me to having sunny days, you know what I'm saying?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I feel like when it comes to stuff like that, especially that example, that's like traumatic as hell.
No.
And I feel like
Losing 20
sometimes,
years?
yeah, it's easy to speak on situations from the outside looking in, but if you was actually in that moment, like, would you feel that way? And what you kind of speaking on to me is like, okay, existing versus living, or whatever. I feel like all of us at some point exist. And then you have to make a conscious decision, okay, I want to live. Because even when you think about, okay, birth and growing up and stuff, a lot of the things that we like, a lot of the things that we do those things because that's how we are guided by our parents or whatever, I don't want to say caregiver, what's guardian that you grow up with or whatever. Like, but I feel like you truly start living when you start tapping into things on your own, what you like, what you don't like. You know what I mean? I feel like that's when you really start living, not when you just, I don't know, whether it's going to church, whether it's listening to this music, not listening to that music. It's you tapping into, you know, your own, whatever that might be. I feel like that's when you start living and not just existing. So I feel like at some point we all just exist. Yeah. And then it's a conscious decision to start living.
Yeah. First off, I think that's definitely a decent example, but that is a hard one to prove of, say you get locked up for 20 years, because I remember a few years ago, there was this picture of this man on Twitter who was freshly released after 87 years of false imprisonment. It's pretty hard to think of whatever sunny days you got left when you're kind of already almost out the door with that.
I mean, I understand, and I understand what you're saying. Yeah. But I'm saying, even if I have a year left, 20 more years left, hell, the healthcare system, you know, if you get the right healthcare, that's a different conversation. It's right, you can live another 40 years. Right. It's what you do, and that amount of time that's given to you. I'm not gonna live a victim. Shit, I'm gonna live my best fucking life. I'm not gonna live a victim. Because I have more in life to give. Rather be 1 year, like I said, 1 year, 100 years to the world, than trying to be a victim for the rest of my life and then I croak and then everybody's gonna say I'm a fucking victim.
Right. Would you want to live 100 years? Just like out of the blue, would any of y'all want to live 100 years?
Shit, let me live 150 so I can talk my shit.
Wait, I want to live how long?
Let me talk my shit.
Let me tell y'all something about my family. Let me tell y'all something about my family. So, Lord willing, I will live to see 100. My great grandmother just passed away back in 2016. She was 105. She was one of 8. They all saw 100 years except for one.
Nice.
My great grandfather.
That is a blessing.
He lived to 99. He died 1 month shy of 100.
I count it.
Yeah.
I know technically you might as well. You didn't set up the finish line.
You know who gives this example? Yeah. Betty White. God bless her soul, though. She was literally 3 weeks away from being 100. 3 weeks. Like, it was to the point you go into.
What you would have seen in 100 years?
What?
You know how much you would have seen. Bro, these people, like anybody that's 100 now has seen the entirety of the Great Depression, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement. They didn't see it all.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's just like, if she had had those 3 more weeks and died, you know what? I done fuck with you, Betty White. I still fuck with you. But at the same time, it's just like, I feel like she said, God came to her and was like, this is what you want to expect in 2022. Mm-hmm. You want to live through this? Or you go to say, fuck it. Either way, like, you live to 99 years old, literally flat. And you was able to see things that people would never ever see.
Not in their life.
Matter of fact, if you listen to the lyrics of Tupac's Change,
Love it.
and he said we would never live to see a black president,
And we did.
and we did. Imagine if he lived past 25 and got to live to 2008 and actually got to see that
Oh, he
shit.
did die at 25, didn't he?
Yeah.
He damn sure did.
That's really wild to think.
Yo, he
At least that
did.
he reached at like 25, and the fact that
Right.
he just kind of died there.
He died, and it's just like, damn. I know he probably like biting his lyrics right.
But you know what's crazy? He died, but he lived.
That's what I'm
Oh, man,
saying.
we borderline
My
this
man
man.
lived.
Ooh, and that brings me to something. So me and a friend, we got into this huge debate one time. All right, so look, I feel like Tupac have a legacy, right?
Yep.
Tupac don't have no kids, and that was our argument. She felt that like a legacy was leaving behind like a lineage or like a family, and I told her I disagree with that
Yeah.
statement or whatever. I mean, yeah, is that a part of a legacy? Having kids,
It can be.
having
It can, yeah,
offspring,
right, it can.
yes, but I don't feel like that dictates a legacy.
Nah, because you can have kids and your kids don't fuck with you. How many people in the fucking nursing home right now? On some real shit.
Fair point.
On some like
Yeah.
okay, if they really need help. I had a cousin
Yeah.
and she had a stroke and she still lived at home, and then she fell at home and she was like, she had to go to a nursing home because her husband could not provide the help that she needed, but her husband visited her every day.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are in nursing homes right now? They treated their kids shitty,
And their kids don't even call.
and their
Or they-
kids,
The kids could have passed before they
yeah.
Yeah.
God.
So what
And
is
they don't
the
even fuck with them. So I mean, like, that's why I say in between, you guaranteed a birth date and a death date, but in
Right.
that between, it's what you do. It's what's gonna dictate. Well, hell, some people don't have that opportunity to dictate what's going to happen in life. Some people just live for like 5 minutes, but it was just like, that heart in it, the heart of the parents to be like, you know what, I lived to this point. We did something, you know what I'm saying? But that's just a different conversation
They don't
for a
think about
different
that.
day.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
different, but not for real. But the people who live old life, like, if people ever think about what they've done in their younger years, to be like, you know what, I'm gonna throw you in the fucking nursing home because I'm gonna be fucking bothered with you.
I think they don't think about that. I think they just assume everyone just kind of forgives and lets all of that go.
'Cause they're
or at least
old?
gives them the pass because they're old. Yeah, that's what I was.
I think so too, but it's like fuck that shit.
I think you should. I think
Yeah.
it should definitely be not harder. I think it's just about right. Just because you had so many decades to figure out how to not treat the people, you know what I'm saying? How to not treat the people you care about pretty shitty, and you still chose to do so. Yeah, I get that. You know what I'm saying? People grow up how they grow up, and they kind of perpetuate that. But like, you've been here 60 something years, 70
Right.
something years. You've had so much time to know what to do and what not.
So I
What you think? What you think? What you think?
About what?
What we talking about, man?
I was gonna ask before we get into anything else. So, in terms of what I brought up, what do y'all think is a legacy, and what would you want to leave behind? Like, what would you want to be your legacy? And I'll let you answer first.
I think a legacy doesn't you don't have to have kids to leave a legacy. I think, like in terms of Tupac, like the way he just changed the game of hip hop is his legacy. Like his music, of course, his art, even acting, even in movies. Like his legacy is what he's done with his life. You know what I'm saying? Like that's his life is his legacy. You know. So and what I want my legacy to be. Whew. That's a question right there. Damn.
Would it be fair to say that you want when you leave this earth, whatever the time it may be, I ain't knocking it early. You want to be like, you know what? even if one person said you influence them to feel like, this person inspired me to make a difference and let me carry on that legacy.
Right.
Like, I don't know about that one.
Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, personally, I honestly, I'm just living life like, if I leave I don't really have to leave a legacy. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't want to say I don't want to kick. Like, I don't care. It's just, I mean.
It's okay to not care.
It is
like,
what it is. I'm just, if I leave a legacy, cool. If I don't, it's cool. Like,
It's cool. It's cool.
You don't really,
I'm just saying, trust me. Everybody, I feel like everybody, they leave a part of something on the earth, and it's just like,
Yeah.
It can
for
be
instance,
bad.
right? Everybody likes to emulate the asshole, right? In life, the person still left a legacy.
Whether it's good or bad.
Whether it's good or bad, everybody
Kevin
leaves.
Samuels.
You know what? I'm not going to really diss him.
Someone just told me recently that he died, and it was with some hooker in whatever.
Well, you know what?
That whole story sounds off to me, but
I'm
not
just saying,
talking
like,
about
he done preach a lot of shit, but he done preach a lot of shit. However, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be the odd one out the group, and I'm not gonna say I may not like every Samuel's approach, but a lot of the stuff he said was kind of true, and it's just like, damn, like
It's just how he said it.
That go back to the old saying, right? Like, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it.
It's how he went across it. That's it.
Cause I'm like, yo, he did say like a true. He made some really great points, and I'm just like, damn, like, nigga, I'm mad you said it, but I guess in a way you actually ain't all right.
And I was gonna say, when do you feel like you want your legacies to be?
Honestly, I was gonna say art, but not art in the sense of it's revolutionary, it's something new we've never seen before. Art in the sense of somebody can look at this shit and say, oh, I can do this too, like, cause whenever I make anything, it's not like I'm trained for it, or I'm definitely not close to the greatest. I'm probably not top 50. I'm not even top 50%, but like, I enjoy it, and I mean, some of it actually turns
having fun.
Yeah, some of it turns out pretty well, and I'd love for that to influence someone else who also thinks they can't really do much to just try something and it works out. But I mean, like Bob said, it's also, I don't really care too much if I do or don't leave one. I know in a society we live in, everyone wants to be immortalized through something, so something of them exists after they're here. I'm cool with not really, even being a memory of a memory. But I mean, if I had to pick anything, it'd definitely be art. It'd definitely be anything I leave behind, just so someone can see it and just be inspired to make something of their own.
I think that's fitting for you. I can see that.
Me, I know this may seem like on some conceited narcissist type shit.
Yeah.
But if I'm able to inspire one person to see their greatness in themselves, I'm happy with that shit. If I leave the earth and said, you know what, I appreciate you, Tri-State, for leaving me greatness, know what it is to try to at least attempt to get to greatness, say less.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Cause I'm the type of person aspire to be the best and the greatest person of you. You may not succeed in it, but the fact that you try to see your greatest self, I think I left a legacy where it's at.
I can respect that. And I think for myself, I do want kids. I don't have kids now, but I do want kids. I feel like that'll be just a part of it. You feel me? And I hate to say it, not to say that they don't matter, but for me, that'll be a small part of, to me, leaving behind a legacy. Personally, for me, I think it would be kind of influencing, I would say, the next generation. or inspiring, you know what I'm saying, the next generation, whether it's this through this podcast, whether it's through another business venture that I'm working on or whatever. And then just kind of how we talked about on the first episode with change, just like not being afraid to step outside your comfort zone and really like living out your dreams. Like even this, okay, like this was an idea at first and now it's coming into fruition as far as building and working on the podcast, right? So it was like all these things and ideas I had before, like now they coming into fruition. And I think, for me, I think that's part of leaving behind your legacy is fulfilling your dreams. You know what I'm saying? That gotta be inspiring to somebody. Like we all got dreams. You feel me?
That's what I'm saying.
We all have dreams, whether it's big, small, whether you care to monetize off of it, not just do that shit.
Because to be honest with you, everybody is a little selfish. They want to mini me.
You gotta be sometimes. You gotta be sometimes, and it's human nature somewhat. To
everybody a little selfish. They want to mini me, whether it's their kids or just somebody else, a niece, a nephew, something.
Definitely.
They want a mini me of themselves, and it's just like their legacy just lives on in the next person. Even if, like I said, even if it's just one person,
somebody has to pass these traits on to the rest of the world.
Exactly.
Sure. All right, what do y'all think happens after we die?
That's a little heavy.
No.
I'll start. Like I believe in afterlife. You know what I mean? I believe in God. I say that all the time. I'm more spiritual than religious. If y'all can understand what I'm saying. Whatever. I think most people kind of get that now, especially like the younger generation. Whatever. I believe in heaven. I want to say I believe in hell, but then I've seen some pretty compelling things where I'm like, hell really might be like a scare tactic for Western society and control and stuff like that. So, but I mean, I definitely believe in afterlife. I believe in spirits. I believe in all of that. You know what I mean? I know personally, for me, like I'm saved. I know when I die, like I'm going to heaven. I don't have no doubt about it. But I'd be lying if I said like, oh, I'm completely comfortable with the idea of, you know, death or whatever. Like, yeah, it's inevitable. Yes, I know it's gonna happen. But when I really sit and like really think about it, it's still kind of scary because, you know,
because you really don't know.
You don't know. It's the unknown.
Some fear in that. It's definitely some fear in that.
Yeah, I agree with Katara. I believe in heaven. I'm leaning closer to not believing in hell. I'm like learning all it, like you know what I'm saying. Like I'm like my brother. He doesn't believe. Like he been teaching me like the devil's not real, hell's not real. Like he be preaching that shit. So I'll be like, and I'm believing it. I'm believing it.
That's something.
I'm gonna throw this question out here. So if nobody believes in hell, right? Do you feel like? Because I'm not going to say every evil person actually lives a hellish life, but do you feel like people actually live their hell when they're living?
Purgatory.
Honestly?
That's purgatory.
This does feel like purgatory.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like some people definitely do, but I feel like they choose to be there sometimes. Of course, you can't choose everything.
Because I have some beliefs.
I feel like a lot of people definitely choose to just
I have
stay
some
there.
beliefs out here that I believe in, and like if I say them right, I don't want to talk of this. That's like a whole different topic.
Yeah.
But I always say, but if that's the case, don't you think we're kind of living in a hell right now? Because think about it. In the Bible, Jesus went through 40 days before he actually spread the message, and God and the devil tried to tempt him in every which way. So he technically went down to hell to come back. I'm not saying I'm the most religious person, but you know, that's
the story.
Man, more than enough, so I'll take that.
I don't exactly know what happens after we die. I don't think there's like a hell, only for the reason of yes, I believe in a higher being, but I also believe as humans we can only conceptualize a higher being the way we would also be because we're only human. And I can't see, you know what I'm saying, a higher being saying, oh, you chose to do this or you chose to do this, so all y'all going this way.
Right.
I just assume, you know what I'm saying, we're all essentially, you know what I'm saying, products of said same being. So, you know, they look out for us. They look out for us, or at least they you know, help fix us up some, and then we all pretty much go to the same place if we go somewhere. If not, then we may just be rebooted and end up back here. I have no clue.
I mean, it's just like, you know, I believe that I always say God is love. Like, that's how
For sure.
I define it or whatever, like, or define him rather. God is love, and I feel like that means like forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in the Bible, it's like 70 times
It's
7
divine.
or whatever, like indefinitely or whatever. Now that don't mean you just go out here and wild out and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? You try to live. I guess morally correct, be a good person or whatever. But yeah, that's why I say I don't get too caught up on the whole, like, I mean, I understand like the 10 Commandments and all of that type of stuff, but I really feel like it's about having a personal relationship with God and being a good person. Like, we gon' fuck up. That's,
of course, we
humans.
human.
Like, we gon' fuck up.
That's what we do.
It don't mean that was your intentions behind it. And I always say intentions to me mean a lot, because you do have people who do things with ill will and intent behind it. But if it wasn't no ill will or intent behind
There's
it,
some people that really do think they want
you
the
know
right
what I
thing.
mean? Like, I feel like what am I trying to say? I feel like that's like living somewhat right.
And
you know
I
what
think your
I mean?
creator knows your heart, even if you do some bad things with the right intention. They kind of know what you really wanted to do. It's just the way you went about it.
Like I would say, we are made in his image, so he understands.
Exactly.
But my thing is, when the first commandment that says, you know, don't have any other God before me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying, if you're trying to build that relationship with him, because let's be real, God is a selfish God. He doesn't want you to have other idols before him. That's how I interpret that commandment. Go ahead.
I feel that, but like what I mean, like what I like meant, what I like said earlier is like the way we conceptualize God is like, I don't think that only for the reason of it's such a human emotion to feel. I don't think someone who has so much control and power over everything feels the need to just be jealous over any small, petty little thing.
I mean,
and then punish everyone for it.
I mean, you know,
it sounds very Hitlerish. You feel me?
Yeah, we not gonna tap into religion.
We're not gonna tap into it. We're gonna tap into it. But you know, the first 5 books, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
That man was a very jealous. He was jealous. Yeah, he was just like, man, you want to do this to me? Man, you die. I'm just saying, but we're not going to go into that right now.
His show was like, you know what, I end it all right now.
I'm just going back to like the point of like the relationship. Like, just once you have a relationship with him.
It's the most important thing.
That's the most important
before anything.
But should we fear death though?
No.
I mean,
no.
why?
It's a part of life.
We gonna die anyway.
Yeah. But you say that, but like I said, like when we talking about it now, like, no, I'm not scared. But if I really sit and really,
when you really
like,
gotta
focus
face it,
on it,
when you gotta really face it, it's different.
But see, for me, when I sit and really focus on it, it kind of excites me a little bit, because I'm like, what is after? I'm a curious person, so I'm like, what is after? Like I don't know.
Yeah. My what I'm gonna go through it with is we shouldn't fear death. I don't think people really fear death. I think people fear how they're gonna die.
See?
Because most people want to die in their sleep. They don't want to die some violent shit.
Bro, what I've seen.
Or some sickness. Or some like.
It's not pretty. I wish I hadn't seen that, no cap.
Or some like sickness that just like, or some like sickness or torture.
Or like the folks in Chernobyl.
Like you're just like slow.
I know, it's just
dying.
pain. And it's not even like slowly dying, like you're on the way out in a few days. Like you gotta sit here and sit for a minute before you get out the door.
You know what actually actually like bring me to that conclusion. It's like, I don't know if anybody's seen the Avatar: Last Airbender, the cartoon, right?
Yeah.
So and like sees like the first book when he talks when he tries to learn water bending, right? And Admiral Chow captures him, right? And he's like, if I kill you right now, then that means I have to go to the next.
Has to wait for the next Avatar.
He has to go to Avatar, which is the water tribe, and then he's just like, I have to like drag it on. He says, but I'm going to keep you alive, and just barely, so that I won't have to go through all of this trouble. You understand what I'm saying? Do you know how much of a torturous life that would be? Like, I'm being tortured every fucking day, but you're just letting me live, just barely, so you can like prolong it. That's a fucked up way to die.
I don't think we should fear it though. I just think a lot of people don't want to face their own mortality. The fact that they won't be
like it's over because
anymore.
this is what we know. That's what I mean. Like that's when I say like when I don't really think about it. Like now we kind of having a light-hearted, casual like conversation about it. Like okay, cool. But when I really sit and think about the idea of it, it's like it's the unknown. Even with believing, it's still like, okay, I have my own idea of what heaven might be like, but realistically, like, I don't know.
Really
you know what I mean?
But I mean, I think we shouldn't worry too much about it because, I think dying is like going to sleep without knowing where you're going to wake up next. But I mean, when we got here, we were just waking up not even knowing we were asleep to begin with.
Yeah, but the difference is we didn't know shit.
See, we still don't know shit. So what's the difference? We still don't know shit. We just don't know we're going to end up.
But my thing is we know what we know. Like when you're in the womb and you're like a baby and you're forming, like you know but you don't know. Like
it's crazy. I'm gonna put it to you this way. Right?
What up?
I got into a car accident in February, right? And like I hit a wall. I'm in a bad fucking spot. And I'm like, damn. I already know somebody else is gonna fucking hit me. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it was just like, I was like, in the car, because I'm on the phone with my grandma this whole time, right?
Yeah. Shout out to grandma.
And, and so I'm just like, damn. It's inevitable. Like, I feel like people just like kind of like know when shit is just like inevitable.
When you're in the middle of it.
In the middle of it, nah.
I mean, that's like they say, do y'all believe that like your life flashed before your eyes before you died?
It's not even so much flashing before your eyes. You just like know.
I don't think it flashes.
But you're saying inevitable.
I think you just run back through everything that's gone on up until this point. But I don't think like it just flashes like you see everything from the start.
No, definitely not.
But I don't know.
But I'm just like,
but they
it's
say
just
that
like
a lot.
my thing is like brace it. My going to the story. It's just like brace it. It's gonna happen. Like it's nothing you can do. Just brace it and brace yourself for it. And it's like you almost have to come. It's like a last second. Like you have to come to peace with this. It's like 5 steps of a second. Like you can beg for it not to happen. You can bargain for it not to happen. You can be mad that it's gonna happen. But eventually. You're going to come to that step of accepting. It's an understanding. Now, some people get to it faster than other people.
Some people
but see, that's my thing. Like, so that's my thing. Like, if it's like something sudden, like a car accident, a heart attack, like that's immediate. But then, like, I know one thing that really kind of always troubled me was like the victims of like 9/11, right? That was on the airplane. Like, that had to be like fucking traumatic. Like these people are in control of the plane. It's not nothing you can do about it. But then especially the people that took over the plane and they basically all committed suicide to save God knows however many people where that plane in Pennsylvania was going. You know what I mean? Like
the Pentagon.
Supposedly, maybe that might have been one. No, because one hit the Pentagon. But I'm saying,
yeah,
I don't know the last
one hit. You know what? We want to talk about that for another.
We'll save it for the next episode.
No, I'm not going deep into it. But what I'm saying is like, just even knowing that like you're going down, it's nothing you can do about it.
You might as well. Just enjoy.
You might have
and that's what I'm saying. Like that's not like somebody that's terminally ill. Somebody that's terminally ill, they can get a chance to kind of maybe make peace with their illness, their sickness. But like in a matter of seconds or minutes, you don't really have that time to come to peace with that. Like,
I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like they had a little bit of time. Like they knew what was going on before they crashed into the plane.
Once they took
but we talking about minutes and seconds in comparison to.
No, but I understand
That's what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but it's just like once every option was like taken away from them, it was just like it's
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, yeah, right? It's inevitable.
Because my thing is, if you're there with your and I say this with sympathy. What happened in 9/11, it was tragic. Those people did not deserve to die. If you're on a plane and let's say you're there with your loved one, my best thing, if I knew every option was ran and it failed, and I know it's inevitable that I'm going to die, and I'm there with my loved one, the only thing I can do is hug my loved one, tell them that I love them, tell them what I wanted them to know before I died, put my mask on, and really how I wanted to go out was I just want to hug my loved one. I can say the same thing about Kobe Bryant's death.
Yeah.
Tragic. And the 9 other people that was there. People lost a whole family.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But see, you speaking of the aspect like some of them had each other, but it was some people that.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like nobody.
And it's just like even when you're by yourself,
you were born by yourself, so actually you kind of gotta go by yourself.
So it's at the same time, it's just like even if you was by yourself with no loved ones, right? It's just like, okay, there is no other option. This is going to happen. You kind of like see what you have in your life. You kind of like deal with it. You may be angry about it. You may be scared about it. But to me, it's just like it's inevitably going to happen. And it's just like the best thing that you can do is make peace with it. It's a fucked up way to go.
Yep.
No, like I said, nobody wants to go in a violent and slow drawn way. Everybody wants to go in their sleep where it's peaceful and they're around their family and they're like, ooh.
But see, that's what I'm kind of saying. It's like I feel like it's one of them things that's easier said than done. Like it's like you can be like, okay, make peace with it, but it's just like, damn, like.
I feel like it's easier. Yeah, it's easier.
I feel like that's way easier said than done. Like.
Okay. Earlier I brought up reincarnation. If y'all could not pick to be human again, what would you want to be?
I feel like first we have to ask, do we even believe in reincarnation?
Yes,
I believe in it more than I don't.
I agree with that. I can't explain it, but I agree.
I agree with that. I agree with that because I feel like anybody ever had like a deja vu moment?
All the time.
And it's like you feel like the exact same thing, and you know what? There's a different conversation. You know, I'm
gonna bring that up later when we talk about
conspiracy theories,
predeterminism, and free will. I'm gonna bring that up later on in this one. I'm gonna bring that up later for sure.
It's like you have a deja vu moment, and the exact same thing happened to you. The exact same moment, the exact same thing. Everything lines up. It's like, damn. Like I've lived through this moment, and it's just like. Is there something I really need to recorrect in
I
this
feel like
moment?
it's so many things in life, right, that like we don't know. You know what I'm saying? I feel
Exactly.
like I'm kind of with you, Bob.
Yeah, I am with you
like,
with that one.
Like I want to say like I don't believe in it, but then I've seen certain things,
It's just like,
and it's just like it might be, and not even in terms of so much deja vu, but more so like just certain like documentaries and things I've seen where
Like
kids,
past lives.
where kids will be like telling their parents like all this stuff about this other person that they were before, and then they like fact check it, and it be real, and it be
They
true.
can show you where they used to live.
And it's
They
very-
can tell you about their old family.
Like, so I'm gonna tell y'all, a few
Yeah.
years ago, me and my friends, after work one night, we went to see the movie The Prodigy, which is like a horror movie about this kid, and he's smart, but like as he get older, he start like having some anger like issues and stuff, and come to find out it was like a past serial killer that was like that's who he came back. He was reincarnated as
And he
a
remembered
serial
all
killer.
that.
Right. So, of course, I went down the fucking rabbit hole after we saw the movie. I'm on YouTube. I'm looking up all this stuff. And, yeah, like, it was
The
just...
kids and everything.
It was intense. Like,
yeah.
yeah, so
Oh.
that's what I mean.
That is the one about the old dude, like right before they caught him. Yeah, okay, so I remember seeing that. I remember
Yeah.
seeing that. And like his parents would walk into his room and he's like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, and he's just
better yet.
going through the Rubik's Cube, not even looking at this shit, just menacing. Yeah.
And better yet,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it's called, the movie is called Selfless.
Yeah.
And it's about this rich guy. He knows he's dying of like terminal like cancer.
Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
So,
And so he's dying, and he's like, well, we have this experimental treatment, and we can like put you in another body, full of, full of, free of sickness or whatever. And it was just like they took his subconscious and put it in somebody fucking else, who is healthy and young, and like he was able to like live fucking. That shit is
These are like 100
fucking
years. We'll be able to do that.
scary.
Oh, so that can kind of flow into our next little talking point. Immortality. Would y'all want to live forever if you could?
no.
Hell
Oh my God.
no.
That's how you will outlive everybody you've ever known and loved. You
What's-
will have no one.
I mean, what's
Give it
that
time.
movie? What's that movie with Justin Timberlake? I think it was called Timeless or some shit like this.
You did bring that up. Timeless. You brought that up.
And this is another movie that I seen. I think it's called Timeless. Like, fact check that for me. Alright. And I was watching this shit, and it was just like Justin Timberlake. He's like this poor ass person, and he's like his mom ended up dying in like the beginning of the movie or whatever. I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but like literally like time is everything. If you was poor, like time, like money, like people today live like paycheck, like people living from like minute after minute, and that shit was like crazy.
I mean, that's
And so,
kind of like real life, but
I mean, like it is like real life. So like the mom, or whatever, she dies because he didn't reach her in time or whatever, and like he sees his guy, he's about to commit suicide. He had like 99 years, and he's like, damn. He's like, I don't want to live forever. Cause he was like some like lawyer type
You'll
shit.
lose everybody.
Yeah, and it's like, man, like living forever is like pointless. Like
It just
it's
sounds stressful.
It's like
yeah.
stressful.
Even with me saying
And
like
he's
I-
like he gave him all the time,
Imagine you get a
and then
life
like up
sentence.
until like 5 minutes. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even with me like saying like I fear death somewhat, like I can't just be like I would be okay with
Oh,
it.
in time.
I can't just say I would be okay with immortality either. You
Shit's
know?
good. It's good.
I can't say I would want to live forever, because forever, that's a long ass time. Like even me sitting
What?
here thinking now, like 100 years from now, like, and then just to know,
3022?
it's kind of like Twilight.
21,
like
22.
y'all remember like on Twilight, like when he first bring Bella to the crib and they got all those graduation caps on the wall. Like it'll be pretty redundant and boring to like kind of live
That's
the
a
same
wow.
life over and over. But that was a little different because it was like a secret. But I'm just saying still.
If I did, I'd probably always try to sleep like every 50 years. I'd see, you know what I'm saying? Oh, it ain't nothing going on. Let me sleep for like another 50. Just until it's cool enough for me to actually
But
be
see,
out
then when
here,
I think about it, it's
knowing
just
all the
like
problems are solved.
to me that's kind of like the idea of heaven, because like alright, like this is the physical form of us, right?
Right.
But the soul gonna live on like endlessly. So to me, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like, I mean, I don't know physically what that will look like.
You know what? Anybody ever seen the movie The Old Guard?
I've been wanting to. I have it
Man.
in my list, and I've never. It looks so cool,
Bruh,
and I've never
watch
seen
that
it.
shit. Watch that shit. Great movie.
It
So
looks
and
so
I'm
fucking
like,
fire, and I've just never like taken the time to watch it.
and so like you know like the main character, she's like they live forever. Like they didn't bit like they live years and years and years and years. They've been through all these type of wars and shit. And it's like they some warriors type shit.
Yeah.
And like she was like she lose her immortality like in the end of the movie. I don't want to speak too much. And she was just like as she lost her immortality, she was just like she's like damn. She loved the fact that it was just like to see it like to like live in that glory knowing your ass is about to die. She was just like that was like almost one of the best feelings ever.
See, and that's what I'm sitting here thinking now. It's just like,
Shit.
like we saying we don't want to be immortal, but then at the same time, it's like once you physically pass or whatever. To me, that is immortality. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's just
just
like
going on to whatever's
we
next.
won't
Yeah.
be in this body probably. I don't know what it will look like, but
Oh, actually,
It's actually
Okay.
the movie Coco that comes up to me.
I also haven't seen that. Okay, so wait,
Good movie.
You can't
Thank
be
you.
human.
Thank you. It's a good movie.
you gotta pick an animal. What would you be? If you
a
come back,
dolphin. A dolphin. That's my favorite.
oh,
I would want to live in the ocean.
same. But there's
A motherfucking elephant.
see, that's like my top two. But the problem is, I was gonna say elephants always get poached, but I mean without the worry of hunters. Without like the worry of hunters, probably definitely an
An
elephant.
elephant.
But
Because they keep tradition, like I'm like really big on tradition and legacy, and like they keep
bro,
legacy.
bro, they always with the family.
Exactly.
They wrestle
Legacy
and they just
keeps-
walk with the family 24/7. I love it.
Legacy is like big to me. So
It's funny. I definitely. The reason I say octopus is because if I know I'm gonna survive, it's if I know I'm gonna survive. Because apparently, only like 1 in 10,000 of them niggas really do survive. Because they start off so small, people just kind of everyone in the ocean just kind of goes around and eats them. You know what I'm saying? And only not many do survive. But if I can survive, yeah. Just because that's like one of the closest thing we have to aliens. Two, they're smart as fuck. They're dangerously smart. Like they can watch you open the tank, and then as soon as you leave, they just won't open the tank the way you just opened the tank. And also because they kind of spend most of their time just kind of alone. They kind of do their own thing all the time until they lay whatever eggs.
what you think,
That's a hard
Ross?
question. I don't know, man. I've been going through animals. I was thinking alligator.
It's a hard choice.
I was man.
Oh, probably an alligator too.
I was thinking so anything that's like top of the food chain. That's what I'm fucking shit up.
For sure. For sure.
So then it goes back to it goes back to the question. Do you rather want to exist or do you rather want to live?
I want to live. I want to live. I don't even care
You know
if
what I'm
it's short.
saying?
I just
Like,
live.
do you want to just be existing or do you want to actually fucking live? Because now everybody's like animal choice, right? When you really sit here and think about it, them motherfuckers is living. Living. You think of an elephant in the wild, they live like to like 90 years old. You think of a fucking tortoise, they live into like 200 years
Bro, what?
old.
Oh, a sea turtle is probably in my top 3 too.
You know what I'm saying? A dolphin, I don't know, but they live a long time.
Geniuses.
An alligator, they live a fucking
They're fucking
long
dinosaurs.
time. Like that's living. Like who wants to fucking just exist? I feel like that's crazy. That means like your mindset is just like it's gone. Like you have no free will.
But that's why I said what I said earlier when we kind of first started. It's like I feel like at some point we all exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you make the conscious decision to live.
To live a quote.
Because okay, so animals, right? They be in like their natural habitat, and then you have, I hate to say it, but us fucking humans come and take them into captivity for whatever reason, whether it's to be in like a circus, whether it's to be at a fucking aquarium, for whatever reason, for our own personal pleasures, right? We taking them out their natural habitat. So with animals, I feel like they almost go from living to existing sometimes. And then with us, I feel like it's the opposite way. Like we exist and then we live. Like, not saying that our parents have us in captivity, but it's like, you know, they rear you, they raise you, but that don't mean that you have to grow up and follow every
You
single
don't have
thing.
the freedom until you get a little older.
Right.
See, I agree with that, but I also feel like what it means to live is different based on who you are and what age you are. Like to a kid.
And that's true too.
For a kid, what it means to live for him is just like to play,
Bro, it's
do whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
next to outside with the homies.
That's what it means to live for him, just because he's a kid. But to us, of course, we gonna say no, he's just existing.
But that also goes back to it depends on who raised you, because it's sad to say some kids don't get to enjoy that freedom or whatever. Like, I'm gonna just say this because he's famous, but it's like, okay, Michael Jackson and his brothers, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they made it, you know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't have made it, honestly, if it wasn't for their father, but at the same time, their childhood was the sacrifice. You understand what I'm saying? Or even talking to one of my homeboys the other day, he was saying, like, his kids get to be kids when they come to his house, but when they're at their mom's house, it's like any little thing they do, sit down, do that, like, they can't play, they can't have a good time.
It's the same thing. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, I'm like a big, like, you know, like, I like watching like World War II shit, specifically when it revolves around the Holocaust. A little bit because, you know, like in high school, we were taught about tolerance and shit, and so we did a whole year about it, and it's like it's kind of interesting. And you look at those people. I was looking at a documentary about Auschwitz, and one lady on this documentaries on Auschwitz, and it was by the BBC. Really good, 6 parts.
Yeah.
And she was like, she got to be on this train. There's this like guy, I forget his name, but it was this guy, and he was big, and they sent him to like the Kazakhstan or some shit. And they sent him out to like bargain for like, the Germans sent him out to bargain for some like supplies. Well, we give you this supplies, we'll let so many like people from concentration camps or whatever out. And so while he's gone, he's like, they're making a bargain for like their squad to like, let's get a train. If these people can afford a seat, like it was like 1,200, they can afford a seat, they'll live. And one of the ladies who actually got the seat, and she was like, really, out of everything, I am only loyal to one person, and that is myself. And I was just like, yo, if the will to live isn't like to me, like if your will to live is just like, ain't to that point of like, I have to worry about myself before anybody else. That is crazy, because my thing is, and it's crazy, somebody had brought this quote to me, I can't forget, it was something recent. And they was like, when you're on a plane, the crane goes down, and little things come down, little mass bags come down. What is the first thing they tell you to do?
Put yours on
your
before you help
first.
somebody else.
Help somebody else.
Shout out to my frequent flyers.
And so, and when you do that, it's like you have to like want to live for yourself before you live for any fucking body.
I mean, that's true, because how the
Can't
fuck
help
you
nobody.
gonna help
Can't help
the next person
anybody.
if you can't help yourself?
Help yourself. And I was like, damn, like if the will of living is not, if your will of living is not onto that level, like if it's me and them, I think I'm gonna choose me. Don't get me wrong, I love y'all. It doesn't mean like, oh, love you.
It's not personal.
It's not personal.
We understand.
Like I'll deal with them demons later on. But like if I have to live in my like real survival mode, but I'm gonna have to. Everybody is for themselves.
No question.
So if I sit up here and I say, God giveth life and he taketh life, do y'all agree or disagree with that statement?
I disagree. I disagree for the reason of, I think pretty like differently the way I see God. I feel like God doesn't interfere with anything. Just because if you interfere with something, it's, I would say, always a biased choice. If you help this person out, it's biased for the reason of, you feel like they need more help than other folks, when it's like 7 billion people and a lot of people do need help. help. If you help one person, then you damn near gotta help everybody equally. Or if you don't help someone, you just gotta not help everybody just to keep it fair. Because if your love is all the same, you really gotta keep it fair. Even if I'm really down bad and I kind of need the help, I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We'll all kind of get help and not help equally, but like at the same time, I feel like God does not interfere much, only because it's not fair or equal to all of us.
So that's kind of what I mean. Like, to me, I always say life is a journey and not a race. So, I mean, everybody have a different expiration date. But I'm asking that because I was going to get into, like, euthanasia or, like, assisted suicide. Mm-hmm. Me, personally, I feel like we born naturally, we die naturally. I don't feel like anybody should interfere with that. But for people that's, like, terminally ill, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be in that position. I don't know how it feels. So, I mean, what you do is what you do. Mm-hmm. But I know, like me, I used to believe in capital punishment, but then I stopped believing in it as I got older because I'm like, damn, like, it's pretty hypocritical. Mm-hmm. Like, one of us go out here and murder somebody, and, okay, they like, oh, that's a crime, we gonna lock you up. But then they turn around and murder the murderer. Like, it's hypocritical. Yeah. And I just don't fuck with it.
You even look at, some of these Eastern European countries like Kazakhstan and like shit like that, those countries, and they live by the law of an eye for an eye. How can you live like that? If let's say I murder you,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh shit, I can no longer live the life that I'm gonna live, mm-hmm, because I murdered you, and because of my sins, my family can, like, it's almost like Deuteronomy 18, like there's like a curse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't quote me, but I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Deuteronomy 18.
18. The Lord will smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. Go ahead.
Okay.
That's it.
And
I'm pretty sure it's 18.
And it's just like, because of my sins, my family is cursed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. That's 18.
And so, it's just like, how am I living? Because I didn't let the natural course of life, like, run through that person.
And that's what I mean.
It's not your place to
and not my
and I feel like a lot of people in general just don't value life. One, people don't value, I'm not saying all, but a lot of people, to me, don't value life in the sense of they don't value other lives, but more importantly, they don't value their own life.
Exactly.
That go back to something me and one of my friends was talking about, whatever. Shout out to Cousin Rachel. Cousin Rachel, if you hear this, shout out to you. But I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? We be having our little debates, our little talks and stuff. But we was talking about, seriously, like, street justice, basically, right? Mm-hmm. I understand. You don't... And I'm only on the outside speaking, and again, I don't know what it would be like to lose a family member, a sibling, or a parent, or a child to violence. But what I do know is if I go out here and I choose to do a revenge killing, at the end of the day, that's only hurting me, and that's only hurting my family even more. Mm-hmm. One, because I'm going to end up in jail probably, mm-hmm, or two, I'm going to end up dead myself. So now they ain't just lost one loved one, they lost two loved ones. You feel me? And I feel like it's easier to react off of emotion. It's easier to react off of that anger. You know what I'm saying? It's harder to really tap into your emotions and to forgive somebody. Mm-hmm. Like, forgiveness, that shit ain't easy. Especially when it's something that's like as traumatic as that. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people can't even get over petty shit, yet alone something of that magnitude.
And, you know, like, I think I told you this story. And, like, even though I'm kind of like pissed off at my grandfather right now, mm-hmm, we'll be all right. We'll get to it. We'll go back to normal eventually. Mm-hmm. To me, and that's why I'm like, he's one of my like biggest male role models. Like, that's on some alpha male shit.
Yeah.
His father ended up getting killed over a rumor of him sleeping with a white boy. How true that was, I don't know. I wasn't there. And the fact he was like, no, we need to prosecute these people, blah, 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 blah. The fact that he was strong enough to do nothing because his mother and his sisters were living down there at the time show more resilience, more greatness, more words can't describe it to me as a man. For you to do nothing, giving what is given in front you. My grandfather was more of a man. My grandfather and his brothers were more men than some of the people who are out here in these inner cities or rural America or whatever, who got killed over petty shit. And now their lives are ruined. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their lives live on because it's just like all the odds are against me, not just me, but my family. They thought more than just themselves. They thought about their families. And the fact that gang members, politics, and all that shit just, and I mean, I understand how people feel. I've never been in that position, but I understand how you feel. And the fact that you still, I want that person to fucking suffer. Them dying it's a cheap way out. I'm sorry, it's cheap because they don't actually get to live with their own fucking conscience for what they've done.
I'm gonna just say this: to live, you have to forgive. And I'm gonna run that back. To live, you have to forgive. It's necessary.
Right.
Like it's really part of the process or whatever. Whether it's something of that magnitude or something smaller. But seriously, we all have like childhood trauma. We all have, I feel like, trauma from relationships in our adulthood, whether it's a platonic relationship, romantic relationship. In order to move on, you have to forgive that person, whoever it was that hurt you. Because if not, you always going to be stuck in that moment or whatever. And that's going to prevent you from living. You're going to be existing. Like, we want to live out here.
Man, what? Oh, would you want to know the day you die?
Hell no.
I'm good, love. I'm good.
Hell no.
Yeah, we can
Let me just like.
I'm gonna be in the Volvo crying. I'm good. I'm good.
Let me just live my life, and when it ends, it's just like, you know what, I can look back and be like, well, damn, I did do this. You know what, I'm satisfied.
But me and one of my friends was talking about this earlier, and it's crazy because she kind of posed a good point. It's like, if you do know it, you would probably take full advantage of the moments that you do have. But I was like, shit, but what if you find out it's within like 24 or 48 hours? That'll be a little fucked up.
If you just find out that you're about to in the next 24, 48, I'm making a lot of phone calls. I'm running a lot of places.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, where the fuck you really going in 1 or 2 days? But now if you really got time, then that's a little different. But even then, I feel like low key, you really be counting down. Like,
all the phone calls I'm making, not even phone calls to say bye. It's just phone calls on, hey, what you doing right now? Hey, what you doing right now? Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
It's like, it's almost
I feel like it's ruin a surprise.
It's almost like, I'm gonna fuck everything. I'm gonna tell people, fuck you. I'm gonna be like, you know what, it is what it is.
oh, I was a little confused. Oh, never mind. I think we on the same page over here.
It's just like, I'm spending all my money that I have. It's just like,
I'm gonna give it away.
I'm
gonna find somebody I really fuck with and just, hey, here go my account. I ain't gonna need this no more.
I ain't know if you meant like fuck everything or like I'm trying to fuck out
I'm trying to fuck
Yes.
everything.
Cause that's what she said. So.
See, that's what I thought she meant.
Shit, prostitute, fuck it. What's your price? You know, I know it's kind of like fucked up, but if I had real shit, if I knew I had this like a little bit of time, it's just like I'm going to say and do things I normally wouldn't do because I just know I have that little bit of time.
I'd talk to like a few folks, maybe like a handful of folks. You know, let everybody know it was cool. I appreciate them and all that.
Yeah. You get that out the way.
I'm not gonna be all like dramatic or nothing. You know, I see y'all when I see y'all. You know.
But then I'm like, but after that's all out the way, you do that first.
Then I'm wilding.
And then I'm wilding the fuck out for like that last like 18 hours.
Not even like the last 18. I'm a wild out for like a day, maybe half a day, and then I'm probably just hang out for a minute. I'm gonna just chill out for the last little bit.
I can see that.
Just
like,
to relax.
You know, like just sit there
Just to prepare for
on your
what's next.
stoop.
Right.
Yeah. What? Grab one of them. Just
like
chill out.
yeah.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
It was cool here. It was nice. I'm gonna just see whatever's after this.
See, I honestly wouldn't live any differently if I known or not. Like,
Same.
it is what it is for me.
It is.
I'm
It is
wild.
what it is.
I'm gonna be like, I'm the same country as nigga.
I'm wilding the fuck out.
It is what it is.
Would you bring anybody back from the dead?
Hell no.
And
No.
if you would, who would it be?
No.
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 I wouldn't either.
After watching
Probably
Practical Magic so many times as a kid, hell no.
I think that memories and the lessons that
I
they taught
appreciate.
me,
I don't have to worry about
I
zombie
can
apocalypse
appreciate
with
it.
y'all.
you know, knowing that's another movie right there. Go ahead and watch it. Shit was slept on, but
You see which one?
knowing
No.
with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, no one is cool.
Okay, real quick, random question. Nicolas Cage, is he a good actor or not? What do you?
He's alright. He's
I
alright.
haven't seen
He's alright.
enough movies.
I
would say
I
I
always
feel
hear
like
either
he's
good or
overrated.
bad. I
I
always
feel
hear
like
good
he's
or bad. I never know, so I gotta ask
He's
everybody.
mediocre.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be watching this movie.
I mean, you know.
Oh, actually, okay. So,
I did want to ask this
What up?
real quick, because it kind of goes with what we're talking about right now. What can be done? What can be done, or what can you do to appreciate life for what it is? Because it's good and it's bad, and it is what it is. But how do we appreciate life?
Don't take it too serious.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever age I am, I don't think I have more than 80 years like max here. I'm not gonna take anything seriously. I don't even have 8 decades.
and
Right, it's
what
just
you-
temporary.
Yeah, I'm just hang for it.
And to me, it's just like what you said, like for you to appreciate life, just appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I think that's true. I know
And
people get caught up in, I don't know, finances, job, relationships, but I ain't even trying to be funny, but like I told my mom one time or whatever, I was like, even when it comes to like, I don't know, debt collectors, for example, whatever, they be calling your phone or whatever, but it's like, nigga, I'm gonna be gone one day, like, and you ain't gonna even, I mean, you can call me, but I ain't gonna pick up the phone, and then nigga, one day you gonna be gone too. So it's just like, what Jesus said, he said it's been paid, you know what I'm saying?
Man, what?
It's been, my debts is paid, I don't know what y'all talking about.
That's gonna be my answer to everything from now on. Anybody call my phone?
I don't know. But no, like for real, like that's real. But I think appreciating life is just to trust the process or whatever. And I don't really like to like quote a whole lot, but 50 or whatever, like in the song Many Men or whatever. He said joy wouldn't feel good if it wasn't for pain. And that's true. Like you really learn to appreciate things or whatever when you kind of see the downside of things or whatever. You appreciate the highs when you go through the lows or whatever. Because if it was just all highs or whatever, you wouldn't be as appreciative. You'd be pretty ignorant and naive to a lot of things. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna lead into that. Do you think predeterminism or free will?
I think it's a little bit of both or whatever. Like, okay, let me say this. God is all knowing, right? I feel like in that sense, life is predetermined. But I also feel like I feel like he knows what we gonna do either way we go, whether we go left or right. but I feel like we have the free will to do either, if that makes sense. He know what we gonna do before we do it, but we still have the choice to do it.
See, real quick, to go like back to what I said earlier, that's why I feel like that God isn't that vindictive, for the reason of, I am as you made me. If you know I'm gonna go left, why punish me for going left when you made me and know that I'm gonna go left? When you gave me the choice to go left and you know I'm gonna go left.
Right.
Interesting vibes.
I agree.
Well, yeah, definitely half and half.
Yeah, I'm happy now too. I agree.
I feel like one don't go without the term. One doesn't go without the other.
Okay.
Because it's like, yes, you have free will, but how can you live and you don't have no type of determination? And it goes back to this when we're talking about existing versus living. You have to have some type of determination to live instead of existing.
But that's more so like, in terms of determinism, that's like saying that life is predestined.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but going back to but what I'm saying is, like, you have to it goes hand in hand. You can have free will, but you have to be if you want to go from like existing to living, you have to have some type of determination. You have to.
Let me see. Honestly, I see it like this. I see it like, here go a campsite we walk into, right? And this the campsite, and we starting right here. I feel like predeterminism is we gonna always end up here somehow, some way. But free will is we got all these different ways we can choose.
Right.
But eventually, we gonna end up to whatever singular point where we're supposed to end up.
And that's kind of what
But we have so many choices along the way.
That's kind of what I'm rebutting in your case, because it's like, if you believe that life is truly like predetermined and you don't have no free will, then you don't need no determination.
Yeah, that's all faith.
You out here winging it.
I don't have nothing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying.
Yeah. That's
So going from that point, do you think it separates dream from a reality?
I think dream is a part of reality. We spend 1/3 of our lives sleeping. So like, I feel like dreaming is a part of reality. It's just a different part of reality. It's like the other side of the same coin.
And
I
this
feel like it's the
kind
other
of,
side of the same coin.
see, when I brought that up, it made me think about when I had took the philosophy course in college or whatever. I want to shout out my professor, but I can't just because, I don't know, somebody might figure it out.
It'll give you the school.
But anyhow, took this philosophy course, and our professor asked us once, he was like, how do you separate a dream from reality? And then when I saw the movie Inception, which I don't know if y'all ever saw that, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, really, like how do we literally know right now that this is not a dream?
You don't till you wake up.
Exactly.
It's like
and maybe when you die, you wake up.
As much as we would like to think, oh, I just woke up from this dream. What if the whole time the dream was reality and this is the dream? Like, how do you really know?
You don't. There's no way
You
to
don't
tell.
really know. And I never really gave it much thought until then, but it's so true.
I kind of enjoy that. I think that's a part of the fun.
And for anybody out there that's like me that ever experienced like sleep paralysis, like, it's kind of like a weird in-between stage. It's it's hard to explain, but that's why I'm like, for the people that's experienced it, like, it's just weird. That's the best way I can explain it.
It's uncomfortable. It's alarming. Like, the first few times, it's fucking alarming.
Yeah.
But like, it just, I don't know, something about it.
What y'all think about the thoughts of life being a simulation?
Yes. It's getting kind of wild these past few years, I'm not gonna lie. They've been cutting the difficulty up.
It's giving very purge.
See,
People like 5 more years.
I'm gonna go with somewhere what he just said.
Yeah.
Now, everybody wants to show, I always got a fucking movie. I need to stop watching fucking TV. It was a movie with like on some Bruce Lee shit. Let me see what the fuck this shit was named. Bruce Lee was in a movie and technically, like, he was a robot. Like, his robot would go out. He was a detective, but his robot would go out into the world. And this murder happened, or whatever, and he finds out the person who created the robots was like, nobody wants to live in reality anymore.
I feel like that right now.
Fuck the
I feel like people try that right now.
Fuck the
And
robots.
so with me, and so with me, it's just like today. And so it's now to me, like with that movie, it was just like it was just like, well, damn, like that is like today. That is literally today's
Art imitates life more than life imitates art.
Exactly. It's some.
And then, like, we done talked about a lot of stuff, but, like, have any of y'all ever had a near-death experience?
I've been in some car wrecks. I don't know if I would
Classify them as near death.
Yeah. Like,
I wouldn't classify it near death, but it just put some shit.
yeah, it just shakes you up a little bit.
What I can say personally is, so I fell asleep leaving work one morning or whatever, and it wasn't a near-death experience, but I'm gonna tell y'all, it was definitely a wake-up call for me. I was like I gotta get right with God for real. It was New Year's Day of 2012, and I fell asleep driving. I crashed into a fucking cemetery wall, and my glasses got knocked off. Like, I can't see nothing without my glasses, number one. But, like, I went to get out the driver's side door. I was pent, so I couldn't even get out on my side. I had to crawl across and get out on the passenger side. And I'm, like, trying to, like, wave people down. And I think people thought I was drunk because, like I said, it was New Year's Day. But I was just tired or whatever. But, like, 3 cars drove by. Let me tell y'all. First 2 people that stopped, an off-duty fireman and a doctor. And the doctor was a podiatrist. Like, the only thing that was really wrong with me was I had a sprained left ankle. And she treated me in the office the next day for free. But when I tell you, like, literally, like, angels on earth, crashing into a cemetery wall, and then an off-duty fireman and a doctor are the first 2 people to stop.
Yeah, that's some angels.
Yeah, for sure.
Good looking at.
Like, that's why, like, it be things out here that's just unexplainable.
That's why I don't believe in coincidence.
No.
This shit,
At all.
it's 7 million people. What are the fucking
And a
odds?
podiatrist?
What are the fucking odds these are the people you actually...
She could have been any type of doctor in the world. She was a podiatrist.
She just happened to
and
be the doctor
only thing
you
that
need
was
to
wrong
see.
with me was a sprained ankle.
Wait, a podiatrist stopped.
A podiatrist and an off-duty fireman were the first 2 people that stopped for me in that accident.
Damn.
So I understand sometimes people might knock religion or knock God. I mean, I ain't here to preach to nobody, but I can only say and speak from my experiences. Like, I believe in God wholeheartedly. But like I said, it'd be more from like a spiritual angle now. You know what I mean?
You can talk about a lot of things in my life.
We spent a whole lot of time together.
I remember I was like, damn, I really needed some money. They about to put a boot in my damn car. I was like, shit. And I really said a prayer going, walking to work, like literally to the train. And I'm just like, damn, God, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? Man, when I tell you, I get to one station, I get a phone call, hey, yo, you don't want the pool at work. And it was like $600. I was like, damn. Like, so you can't tell me God don't work. But, you know,
Because don't nobody want to be like, Nate, I'm in a bind, nigga.
So, yeah.
Nobody want to do that.
Nobody want to do that. Oh, but to Side going back, we were saying, I was talking about the movie with Bruce Willis. It's called Surrogate. Watch that shit. Good movie.
Who's that?
Bruce
Willis.
Surrogate, that's what it's called. Shit's
I got you.
good.
Oh, 9. Okay.
And
It's on
then-
Netflix.
Now that we done talked about life, we done talked about death, and I don't even know how we just kind of get into this point, but grief and grieving.
Shit. I feel
What
like
do y'all think about grief and grieving and that whole process?
Go ahead.
I feel like because it hits home for me, and I lost like some really close people in the last 2 years, like really close, and like you never like come like stop grieving about it. It's just like right now, like I'm still grieving my uncle's death, and he's died. What, December of last year?
That's not even a year. That's not long at all.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm still grieving his
Because it takes time. That's what I'm saying. That's not long.
I feel like I will never get over his death because he was such an instrumental part in my life. It's the same thing like 2020, the first person I lost in 2020 was one of my best friends. Literally, talked to him on the phone. He was cool. We laughed it up, chopped it up. Ha. Week later, not even a week later, maybe like 4 or 5 days later, he's called from my sister. She's crying. I'm at work, about to deliver, about to do some shit, and it's just like, oh, did you hear the news? Like, such and such died, and I'm like, you're fucking lying. And she's like, no. I'm like, he was fine when I talked to him. We were literally just chopping it up like that Wednesday, and he died. And so like, I always like think like, and that is a video I have that my cousins had filmed. And if you were to tell me like certain people will not be in that video in 2 years, I would tell you you're a fucking lie. I would cuss you out and don't talk to me, because like I just knew these people would be here forever. Not even so much forever, but they gonna be here for a minute, and we gonna still talk our shit. We gonna still have our shots. We still gonna do us. And it's just that the fact that they're not here anymore, it's just like shit is never the same. I went home like last week, and my aunt walks into the door, and like when you see my aunt, you see my uncle, and to this day, it's just like. And he's been dead for almost 2 years. He's been dead for over 2 years now. And to this day, it's just like, that shit is just so not normal.
It's not.
It's
Everything's
not
different now.
normal.
It is.
It's not normal.
It
Like,
won't be the same
just seeing her and you don't see him, that shit is not normal for me.
Y'all know how people always be like, it gets better with time. When my grandparents died, I realized that grief is not the same. It's almost like as more time goes on, and I know I can speak for myself when I say this, as more time goes on, it's almost like, damn, it's been this long since I talked to them. It's been this long since I seen them. And then even just going through different life experiences, like relocating to where I'm at now, starting businesses, working on different projects, whenever I get married, have kids, like that's stuff that I never thought that I would do without them. Cause like I said, my grandmother's mother, she lived to 105, so we just always thought like, oh, like grandma going to at least see 100.
She'll be
but
150.
then grandma died at 79, and it's just like, damn, like, you know. And then like with my grandparents, they got sick on the same day, literally, like they both got sick on the same day. They was at 2 different hospitals and 2 different ICUs. Or whatever. My grandma passed a few months later, and my grandpa passed exactly 7 months after her. Like my grandma passed on June the 3rd, he passed on January the 3rd, or whatever. So losing both of them was like, and like when you said going to their house, I can relate. I've only been in my grandparents' house once after they both passed away, and it was eerie as hell. And I ain't been back in there since then. But like my dad and his siblings, they rent that house out now, but like I only been in there once or whatever. But it's no timeline to grief. It's no timeline to that shit.
Oh, no.
It takes time.
Yeah.
Whatever that might look like.
Yeah, I haven't really lost anyone in my family I've been close to yet, so I don't really know how the grieving process is gonna go for me. But I just feel like I know death is a part of life, so like, and I can't control that. So like, I feel like the grieving process, just for me personally, won't be that bad, just because, like, I can't control it. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and it haven't been terrible for me, because like with them, I was so used to them being healthy and this and that. But like, okay, my grandma had a stroke, and my grandpa has COPD, if y'all know what that is. It's like chronic obstruction pulmonary disease, or whatever. But it's like basically when you get like holes in your lungs, so you don't get air or oxygen like you're supposed to, because it's seeping out through the holes when it's coming up or whatever. That's not living. That man was basically at home on oxygen 24/7 by the end. You know what I'm saying? Then my grandma, her having a stroke, she mentally, she just wasn't the same. Her stability wasn't the same. Her long-term memory was good, but not her short-term. So, you know, I found peace in the fact of they not suffering no more. You know what I mean? But it's still not having them in a physical, like, I'd be lying.
Yeah.
And then like last year, I dealt with like an unexpected death or whatever. Like lost a coworker or whatever. Tri-States can relate. She already know what I'm talking about. But it's like me and that person, we started the same day together. Like even though she came from somewhere else, it was still an experience and a journey that we was on together. Like coming from somewhere else, and that's kind of what bonded us or whatever. And like losing her like unexpectedly, that shit hurt, especially when you gotta be in that same space where you used to seeing them at. Like when we would meet up at the huddle or whatever to have our little talks, it was weird not having her beside me or whatever. And then to constantly have people kind of coming up to you like, are you okay? Like, I'm sorry to hear about your friend, da 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 da. And it's like, I know they mean well, but you know.
Yeah, that can add up.
Yeah.
Be heavy with you.
And that was the first time I dealt with unexpected death, and that shit hit way differently than.
Yeah, man.
Shit.
And it's like it made me empathize a lot more. Not to say that I didn't before, but like I lost my uncle when I was 7 to a car accident. Like my mom's brother passed when I was 7, but it made me empathize a lot more with her and like the rest of my family and what they went through, losing their brother, son, father, all of that or whatever. Like, cause he died in a car accident. So
it don't matter what it is. I think
I feel like
an
it hurts worse with your
unexpected
peers.
death.
I feel like it hurts worse with your peers for sure.
Yeah, and I just feel like going back to what you saying, like an unexpected death, and the deaths that I was talking about, they were all unexpected. You know what I'm saying?
Because you don't know that that's the last time people will speak.
And it's crazy. I told you about the video. That was the last time I physically saw my best friend. That same day. So like when I go back and I say like if that video of us, because we do something called like, I'm kind of like giving away myself. So people who listen to this, they know what it is. We do board meetings when we drinking shots and stuff.
Yeah.
And so for me to have that board meeting, and I feel like one of the biggest things I wish, as far as my best friend is concerned, I should have said, "Yo, come back to the crib, chill out. You only 30 minutes, 25 minutes from where you live at. Come to the crib. Let's hang out some more. Have some shots with us." And like, you know, ride it out. And like, to me, to see those 4 people that day, that period of time in my life, that they're not here anymore, and all I have is a video. And that's why I go back to social media. It's like, yes, social media, it's a blessing and a curse. And like it's a blessing because you get to connect with so many people around the world, but it's a curse because everybody only see the good of it, and nobody wants to live in that moment. Live in that moment, like and not everything needs a picture, not everything needs a post. Just live in that moment with your family and your friends. And be like, damn, I remember that shit. Like, I can, like, and then we about to say again, like, I'm kind of like telling myself when I say, yo, we bought all the chicken. There was no full Kodak moment for that. It was just us, me and my uncle. We out. We not even out. We out. We sit in the house drinking shots, talking our shit.
Right.
Late at night, we hungry because we drunk and we hungry. Go to the chicken spot, get chicken, and we bought all the chicken they had. The rest of it that they were gonna cook for that night. So when I say all the chicken, that sentence right there is a memory for myself. Like live in the moment. Everything doesn't need to be broadcasted.
I agree.
Oh, it never. It does not have